Want to join the Sugyah Live? WhatsApp plus 19148 936 848 or email us at info@theshmuz.com. This is your chance to truly grow and elevate your learning experience. Thanks for joining today's session. The Sugyah is available live every Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday. You will receive More Makomos and will be in direct contact with Rabbi Shafier and the Sugyah community.
I have a lot of work to do tonight. And please have in mind, our learning should be a schuss for the Klal Yisrael, especially for our brave soldiers, the giving their lives with such willingness, with such joy for the Klal Yisrael. Okay, anyway. So our learning should be a schuss for them, and we should be nigel immediately. Okay, says the Mishnah in Peah, Elu dvarim she'ein lem shiur. These are the things that have no measure to them. And no measure above and no measure below, meaning they're measureless. A Peah, when you have to leave over a corner of the field, Torah doesn't give you an amount. Leave over a corner. How big? I don't know. It doesn't have a maximum, doesn't have a minimum. Leave it about. Now, the Rabbanan put in shiurim to each of these, but the point is, min deraisa, there's no shiur. Okay, bikurim also, no shiur. Take the first fruit, tie a gummy, something around the first fruits, and bring it in a basket. How much bikurim? 1 fruit, 10 fruit. No shiur, no minimum, no maximum. Harayan, and when you go to the base of Mikdash 3 times a year, kol zochar, every male has to go up. So this is a machlokas. Either it's referring to how much time you spend in Yerushalayim, or when you bring the karbonos, how expensive the karbonos are. But again, no minimum, no maximum. Gemilas chasadim, so to gemilas chesed. No minimum, no maximum, doing gemilas chesed. And the last one is the Talmud Torah. Talmud Torah also, no minimum, no maximum. Okay, so far so good. These are the matters that a person eats the reward of them in this world, meaning he gets reward in this world. But Karen Kamas and the actual Karen, the actual what do you call Karen in English? The principal, right? The principal is Mekuyim for the world to come. I mean, he gets the dividends in this world, and the principal remains for Olam Haba. What things are these? Kibbud Avayim. One is Kibbud Avayim, treating your parents, honoring your parents. Gemilas Chasadim. I'm sorry, it keeps jumping again. Gemilas Chasadim. Second one is doing Chesed. Vava Shalom ben Adam Chaveru, bringing peace between man and his friend. And says the Mishnah, the Talmud Torah keneged kulam. Talmud Torah is greater than all of them. Now, just in case anyone wants to question what this means, does anyone know what does it mean? Talmud Torah keneged kulam. Does anyone have a good idea on this one?
I picture a scale.
Yeah.
That I guess the schar for doing it is stronger than all of them, or is compared.
I'm sorry. Is what?
It's like it's the weight of learning is shakul to all of the others. I picture a scale.
And what's on one side of the scale?
Talmud Torah.
And what's on the other side of the scale? Each one individually?
No. Putting them all. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. All of them together. Let's see. In fact, there's an Or Sameach and a Mishnah. It's a Rambam says as follows: Ein lecha mitzvah kol mitzvah kulam sheyishkula keneged Talmud Torah, el Talmud Torah keneged kol mitzvahs kulan, and he explains why. Listen to what Samech says: Ein lecha mitzvah afilu kol mitzvah shel Torah ein a shavel davar echa min Torah. All of the mitzvahs in the Torah are now equal to one word of Torah. All right, so you put them all on one side of the scale, put Torah on the other. Torah outweighs them all. Okay, so far so good. That's what it means. Talmud Torah keneged kulam. Torah is more valuable. The schar is more valuable than all of them. Now we're going to have to see why. Hopefully, not this evening, but hopefully during the Sugyah, we'll get a better understanding. But so far so good. So we have a Mishnah. Okay,
so kulam doesn't just mean equal to kibbud avayim yimas chasam aval shel shalom. It means all the mitzvahs in the Torah. Then, if we're going with that understanding,
correct. Keneged kulam means all the Torah. Yes.
Not just kibbud avayim and the others.
That is correct. That's almost unfortunate what the Rambam's saying. Right? Listen to the Lashon of the Rambam here. Ein lecha mitzvah b'chol mitzvahs kulam sheyishkula keneged Talmud Torah. And no mitzvah in all of the Torah that is equal to Talmud Torah. Ella Talmud Torah keneged kol mitzvahs kulan. Rather, Talmud Torah is keneged all the mitzvahs, all of them. Shatalma maybe the Maisa. Rambam says a curious line over here. Gemara in Kedushin, but why he says it, I don't know. Because Talmud brings to Maisa. For that reason, learning comes before Maisa all over. In all places, the rule is learning before Maisa. Okay, so far so good. All right, now let's look at the Shnos Eliyahu. The Gra wrote a Perush on Mishnayos, and let's see how the Gra learns. It says the Gra as follows: the Talmud Torah nami ein lo shir lo lamala vo lamata. And Talmud Torah also doesn't have a shir, not a minimum nor a maximum. Tiksiv, as the pasuk says, v'gisa bo yoman v'layla. You should think in learning yoman v'layla, day and night, meaning all the time, no maximum, all the time. Vim kain, if so, ein lo shir lamala. There's no maximum, because all the time means all the time. You excuse my saying, someone just told me this story. It's very humorous. A Mashulach came to the Chazon Ish, didn't know who the Chazon Ish was, and he asked him for tzedakah. So the Chazon Ish gave him something, and Mashulach said, in Yiddish said to him, "Do you learn?" So the Chazon Ish said, "Yeah, when I have a chance." You get the joke? That's all he did all day, all night. That's all he. Yeah, when I get a chance, I learn. Yeah, I don't know. I found it very humorous. Okay. Anyway, the point is the Gizva Yom V'Layla. Vim Kain ein lo shir lamala. So there's no sheer maximum. Ulamata nami, the minimum also. Lefamim b'teva achas potter. There will be occasions where with one word of limud Torah you fulfilled your mitzvah. Va'adi isa b'gemara dekar kriyishma arve shachris. Kilo kain v'gisa b'yom v'layla. You'll ask me a kasha, says the Gra. The Gemara says that if you read Kriya Shema, Arvis, and Shachris, you fulfill the Gisa b'yom v'layla. Now that's not one word. Kriya Shema is many words, right? Says the Gra. No, make no mistake. It doesn't mean that's the minimum amount of Torah you have to learn to fulfill the Gisa b'yom v'layla. Lo b'lafuki den yotze b'teva achas. The Gemara is not saying that you're not yotze one word of Torah. Elakol achas yochel lekros Kriya Shema Shachris Avis, and that anyone can read Kriya Shema Shachris Avis or Ze Amru and Dimkar Az Afil Teva Achas Enochayev Likros V'Yotze B'Kriya Shema. All the Gemara meant to say was that if you read Shema, that alone is sufficient, and doesn't mean one word isn't, but rather if you read Shema, you don't even have to learn one word because that suffices. But Enechanami, one word of Limud Torah is sufficient. Lo Yose, no more. Now, what if you have a lot of time to learn? Therefore, the Torah says you have to learn Yom and V'Layla. Okay? Now, so far it's a little bit confusing because you told me one word is sufficient, but now you tell me a person's obligated to learn Yom and V'Layla. Wait a minute, if one word is sufficient, Yom and V'Layla doesn't make a lot of sense, does it? So the Gra goes on to explain. However, meaning even though the obligation is to learn Yom and V'Layla, day and night, but let's say you have to be osig in a mitzvah, or b'derech eretz, you have to earn a living. She says that gam came mitzvah, that's also mitzvah. By the way, Rav Moshe writes, very important to remember, he has a certain shaila about are you allowed to read Kriya Shema early? So the halacha is, if you're going for Dvar mitzvah, you're allowed to. And so someone asked Rav Moshe, what, I have to go to work. He says, Ein l'cha mitzvah go to l'mazu. That's a mitzvah. What's the question? You go to work. And you're working, we are 24/7, 365 over the Hashem. When I go to the Beis Medrash, I'm serving Hashem. When I go to work, I serve Hashem. Everything is serving Hashem in its right time. Anyway, so Zeh Gam Ki mitzvah, working is also mitzvah. Azai hu pater et atzmo teva achas. In that case, if you're busy all day with mitzvah or b'derech eretz, and you pat yourself with one word. V'nakir atana adin shir l'talmud Torah shir l'mata. Why then did the Tana pick a shear of Talmud Torah, the minimum? Why do you say even one word, lahoros, to teach us shesarch adam ma'od ma'od l'chav Torah? Person has to very, very much love the Torah, because every word of Torah that he learns, mitzvahs aseh b'fnei atma, is a discrete, separate mitzvahs aseh. V'araya, and I'll prove it to you, says the Gra, sheyotze b'teva achas mitzvah limud Torah. Let's say I'm very busy. Let's say I talk there's emergency, whatever. And in that case, and I have no time the whole day, if I learn one word of limud Torah, I'm yotzei my chiyuv of Talmud Torah. One word. And one word, I'm yotzei the mitzvah. That means even one word, you yotzei Talmud Torah. And that one word is shkula keneged kol mitzvahs. And now the Gra goes on to make an interesting observation. And the rule is that we're not mavatal Talmud Torah even for a mitzvah, if that mitzvah can be done by somebody else. Logic dictates this. Why? I mean, they should call mitzvah gedola. Each and every word of Torah is a separate mitzvah, which alone each word is equal to all the other mitzvahs. Let's say you learn one daf, mitzvahs. Count the words on the page, and you'll see that there are a few hundred mitzvahs. Therefore, certainly, if you can learn a whole daf or do a certain mitzvah that you're not obligated to do, obviously you're much better off learning. Rak, however, if that chesed or that mitzvah can be done by somebody else, then you're allowed to mivatel. That's why the Tana wrote, Had the Talmud Torah ein la shiur lamata loras canal. Why the Tana write there's no shiur Torah minimum to teach us that halacha? That what? That the minimum amount is one word to teach you how valuable every word of Torah is. Oh, mitzvah, or if you have to eat, which is also mitzvah. Lule zos, and lule this fact, loya panai lasos eza mitzvah. We wouldn't have any time to do any mitzvah, lachol, or to eat. Diksiv, gisva yom v'layla, because you have to yom v'layla. Lakach mashir lefamim avateva achad yotzei. That's why the Torah taught us one tev yotzei. Gentlemen, what is the Gra saying?
Why is he picking out eating dafka as opposed to sleeping or anything else that's his?
All right, you're right. That's a good point. But I guess he couldn't even eat. Maybe it's a more obvious one. I'm not sure. What is the Gra saying, gentlemen?
It's very interesting to me. This his brother, the Mal Satara, is my Alta Zeta. I'm a descendant from the Mal Satara. And the lashon here is so similar and contrasting to the way Mal Satara talks in the beginning of his Akadam of Mal Satara when he talks about the mitzvahs. It's like you can tell they're the two brothers that are writing it. It's like,
okay, but what's he saying anyway? Even if he's your uncle,
I don't know.
What's the man saying? What is the Gra saying, gentlemen? Somebody say it, paraphrase it for me, please.
He's saying technically you could be Yosei with one word, but you shouldn't be?
Something like that. Okay, so first of all, let's understand what you call technically. Meaning, let's say I'm really Torah. I have a lot of whatever. It's an emergency. You know, when Rav Aaron would run around the Varatzola during World War II, saving Jews in Europe, and there were many days when he really was Torah all day. So if you have such a situation, the Chiddush is number one word of Torah, Yimakayim V'Gisva Yom V'Layla, one word in the morning, one word at night, and you're Yotzei. That teaches us, the reason why the Tana taught us that is to teach us the extreme value of Torah. Why? Because every word is a separate mitzvah. And why did he tell us even one word Yotzei? To teach us that even one word Yimakayim Talmud Torah. And that means that if I sit down to block Gemara and there are 100 words, 200 words, 500 words, that's 500 mitzvahs. So he explains that. That's why it's obvious because of that if you have a mitzvah that you don't have to do, it's an optional mitzvah that you should learn rather than do that. Why? Because you're makayim by learning hundreds of mitzvahs as opposed to the one mitzvah. Now, if you're obligated to do the mitzvah, you're obligated. But if you don't have to do it, and the Talmud comes first. Okay, that's one. But nevertheless, there is a constant demand upon me of a gisa b'yom v'layla. So the way it works is like this. There's a demand, sort of like exactly what the Chazon Ish says. I learn when I can, but when I can means I'm supposed to be learning all the time, unless there's something I have to do otherwise. Meaning, I'm kavu la sok b'divrei Torah. What I do for a living, professionally, I'm a learner. This is what I do. I'm a learner. You work, you do it. Yeah, okay. Listen, what I do is learn as much as I can. V'gisa b'yom v'layla. If I have to do a mitzvah, I have to eat. Okay, stop. But what I'm doing is I'm living and learning, except when I have to stop. So that's basically the two extremes. All right, so far so good.
Rebbe, do you also see from here that it sounds like maybe this is actually like the famous source of the famous Chavetz Chaim, but if you're mavatel, the mitzvah of limud, you sound like you're getting less schar. It's just the right thing to do. Because
Wait, what?
he's
Say
saying,
again?
meaning it's the right thing to do to be mavato the lima, to let's say go on a tzala call, save someone's life, EFshar. But Lamaisa, it sounds like you're losing schar. I mean, really, it's much better for you to be learning. It just happens to be the right thing for you to do is go save that woman's life.
All right, you're right, but don't worry about it. God's very, very fair and good and makes up for it. If you're supposed to go save a person's life and you say, I'm going to learn instead, you're not going to get very far in Gan Eden. And I don't even
Right.
that
Not obviously that's the wrong thing. I'm saying the right thing. But Lamaisa, you
You're
say
not
like, oh,
losing.
Baruch Hashem, I had this opportunity.
But you're not losing schar. We're going to see you don't lose schar.
So, Rebbe, what about we learned not too long ago, Osek a mitzvah, Patim and a mitzvah?
Thank you very much, Martin. What are you asking? What are you asking?
You're doing something else, so you don't have to stop to do a different mitzvah. I mean, if learning is keneged kulam, is into hate, does that mean, therefore, that maybe you should be doing more learning than something else according to this? Or does it mean that...
let's take a good example. Let's say right now, I'm going to daven at 7 o'clock Shachris. I say, no, I'm learning. I'm not davening this morning. I'm not going to say Krishma. I'm not going to daven. I'm not going to do
wait. No. That we discussed. We discussed that there are certain things you have to do, and there's no two ways about it.
Martin, that was your question. Oh, Sigma
no,
mitzvah,
it's not
my question.
No. I'm going back to the question about saving a person's life. So if you're sitting and learning, I don't know for sure I'm going to save the guy's life. Maybe the guy ain't going to be saved. So I'm sitting and learning. I know I'm doing that mitzvah. Do I have to go run? I don't know if I have to go run. I mean, I'm not trying to sound rude here, and Hatzalah people, obviously, I have the greatest respect for. But if a guy's sitting and learning,
okay,
this sounds like Rosh Scheinberg had a mishmash. What is mishmash shilas? He asked basically, how come it comes out that if you're on your way to learning, you can say oisuk mitzvah patur mitzvah, but if you're actually learning, you can't say oisuk mitzvah patur mitzvah.
Okay, so this is what we're going to get into. We're going to step by step.
Basically, comes out that every mitzvah is its own separate mitzvah. So you're never in the middle of doing the mitzvah of learning, because as soon as you finish one word, you're done mitzvah learning. Now you're about to start another mitzvah. So you're never in the middle of learning in order to do oisuk mitzvah.
I appreciate that. Let's go Kaseda. We're going to go straight and we're going to learn things like a mensch. I think Martin dropped the ball on a gorgeous kasha. Martin, with all due respect, you had a bomb kasha and you dropped it.
I dropped it.
You dropped it. I'm sorry. I thought you were asking. Okay, but let's before we get to the kasha, let's just understand what the girl is saying. Number one, how important is the mitzvah to say? Let's ask tefillin, tzitzit, mezuzah. How important is it? So
before we continue, if you're enjoying this content and want daily inspiration, join our WhatsApp group. Get uplifting messages directly from Rabbi Shafier himself. Just message +1 91489 36848 to get started.
Involved. If you don't have an esrog or any other mitzvah veris, you don't have to spend a fortune for it. As Chazal say, if you're mevazes, don't spend more than 1/5 of your income. Even mitzvah. Now you'll see. Maybe we'll get a chance to learn the Bir Halacha. It's a machlokas whether it's 1/5 of your income or 1/5 of your possessions. But the Halacha in Shulchan Aruch is if the only way you can mekayim a mitzvah veris is by spending money, you have to spend up until at least 1/5 of your income, and again, maybe even 1/5 of your possessions. Okay, it's a Rosh Min Yocham. Good. The Davke mitzvah say, well, that's talking about an asay. Avaloso say, eating kol mamona kom sheyavo. In terms of being over a lav, every penny that you own, you have to spend before you over a lav. If it costs you every penny you own, the only way I could do, not where shotton is or whatever it may be, you have to spend every penny. Okay. So, and I say I have to spend 1/5. Let's assume the simple shot 1/5 of my income. So let's say I make $200,000 a year. So how much money is that? $40,000 I have to spend for this mitzvah, right?
We know it's a year income.
I'm sorry.
How do we know it's a yearly income?
Again, the Bir Halacha goes into the machlokas, whether it's the year's income or all of your possessions. But I'm taking the smallest side for a minute. You're right. Meaning You may be right. And again, maybe we get a chance, we'll do that Bir Halacha that discusses the other tzad, and it means a fifth of all of your possessions. But l'chol pachos, it means a fifth of your income. So let's say I make $100,000, at least $20,000 I have to spend after taxes, whatever, fine, $80,000. So I got to spend a fortune of money, at least 1/5 of my income to do a mitzvah. I'm just trying to be mitzayer the value of a mitzvah. Okay, good. So I'm obligated to give at least 1/5 of my earnings. Okay, now, what does it mean, Talmud Torah Keneged Kulam? We know what it means. It means it's equal, as we saw from the Or Sameach, Keneged every mitzvah, right? It means like this. If you put limud Torah on this side of the scale, put Tarek mitzvah on that side of the scale, what happens is Talmud Torah Keneged Kulam. They're exactly equal out. Okay, good. Now let's do some math. This is the Gra, and the Chofetz Chaim spells this out, and I'm going to spend a minute doing it. On average, people speak 150 words a minute. How did I discover this? Because I had to figure out when I was reading for the book, I did the audio book, and I had to actually time it. Whatever. Point is, the average person reads or speaks approximately 150 words a minute or more. Okay, so let us now do the math. Here we go. The first person learns 1 hour a day and 150 words a minute. So here we go. 150 words a minute times 60 minutes is 9,000 mitzvahs say per hour, each one equal to any other mitzvah say, meaning that you should spend a fifth of your income, 9,000 an hour. But the odds are good that you won't only learn 1 hour in a year. Hopefully, mitzvah Shem, you're going to do that 9,000 an hour times 365 days, or 3,285,000 mitzvahs say a year. Now, that has a way of accumulating, because mitzvah
Shem, 1 hour, that's 1 hour a day we're talking?
That's 1 hour, again, 150 words a minute. Here's the story. I learn 1 hour a day, 150 words a minute. Do the minute, 150 words a minute times 60 minutes is 9,000 an hour. So per 1 hour a day times 365 is 3,285,000 mitzvahs. Now, hopefully I'll live a couple of years. So let's assume I do this for 60 years, right? Let's say I start at 10, I start at 20, and I get to 80. Fine, 60 years. Over the course of a lifetime, a person will have learned 197,100,000 mitzvahs asay. Each one keneged all other mitzvahs in the Torah. Meaning what? 197 million. But here's the interesting part. What happens if a person learns 2 hours a day? The math is a way of adding up. 394 million. 3 hours a day, 4 hours. It's beyond. See, gentlemen, the only reason we're not falling off of our seats is because we don't really believe it. Oh, come on, it's a guzma. It doesn't really mean it. And you know why the Chazon Ish learned every minute he could? Because he really believed it. He recognized the value. And when David Melech says more precious than gold, Paz Rav, he meant it literally to. We live in a very fleishik world. We live in a physical world. In a physical world, we don't, ruchnias, whatever, mitzvah, mitzvah, no mitzvah, leaving the Torah, 1 word of Torah, no word of Torah, who cares, And that's because we are spaced out. We're deadened. It's been a long, long bit of gullus, and we forgot the value of one mitzvah. Believe me, the minute I leave this earth, I'm going to say, idiot, what was wrong with me? Let me go back for 1 minute, let me learn another minute, I would steig, just give me a chance. And the difficulty is that now we don't feel it, we don't understand it. But when you do the math and you realize just committing to 1 hour a day, you're going to be a wealthy man. You're going to be wealthy beyond wealthy. 197 million mitzvahs say, each one shekel keneged tefillin, keneged tzutzis, keneged mezuzah. 197 million, that's if you do 1 hour a day. Gentlemen, let's go. You hear the word? Jake, if I could ever get this, I'm telling you, I would learn. I much would learn. But you have to dwell, you have to really say, I get it. Chazal really meant it, and Hashem really is the mativ, and Hashem really wants us to get the best we can, and this is a gold mine. Let's go. All right, enough said. Let's learn.
I told people, if you said a limited amount of time, what should I do? I said, you should learn Musar, because then you'd realize you have more time to, how important Torah is, and you have more time to learn.
What should you learn? You should learn these slides. Do the math. Okay.
All right, is this any type of learning, though?
Yes, it's a Talmud
So
Torah.
if you're doing Daf Yomi or you're doing iyun, it's the same thing?
No, I didn't say that. You asked if it's any type. The answer is yes. Is there even higher levels? Yes, there's even higher levels. But this is
the mitzvahs that say the same.
No. The answer is yes. There are higher levels. In other meaning, Can you do, when you pick up a lulav and esrog, is the Gra's lulav and esrog same as mine? No. But nevertheless, picking up a lulav and esrog is mitzvah's essay. So if you learn daf yomi, you do the daf. You have your Starbucks coffee, you sit back and you do the daf, you get your Mekayim mitzvah limit Torah. Is it the same as the Chazon Ish, the same as Samsung? No. And it's certainly not the same as iyun, but it is a separate mitzvah, say each word of Torah. Now, the bigger, the deeper, the better. I got it. So there's even more, meaning instead of just regular mitzvahs, you have deeper and more. Okay, but I'm talking about plain vanilla, regular Joe. I never learned. I learned a little bit in yeshiva. I don't know much, but I sit down to the daf yomi. I sit down to I come to the Sugyah. I prepare. Each word is a mitzvah. Say, I hate to say there's no other way to slice it, but to slice it. I'm sorry, Elton, I'm sorry. I know you went to Chofetz Chaim Yeshiva and they drew the iyun. One second, we're doing the Sugyah. That's what we're doing.
No, I just want to know if it's the same as to say, because I heard from, I think, whatever, Adam Gadol that said that if you learn, you get schar for Lima Torah. To say you do daf yomi and you don't really, really understand it, you might get Lima Torah, but you also get an Isser Bittul Torah for every second. And this is not a Chofetz Chaim, Rav. It was the Ravadia said this.
I assume that means you're doing the daf, like leaning back and just doing the when you could be really, if that's your capacity, that's your capacity. Meaning, you're right. Listen, right. Each person can be his madrega, but you're right. If the Chazon Ish would sit back at the daf yomi shiur and just sip a Starbucks, you're right. All right, let's go on. Let's learn a little bit because we've done enough hashkafit tonight. Okay.
So Rabbi, let me get up to the plate one more time.
Yes,
so
sir.
The bomb kasha is, since we know that Talmud Torah can eged kulam to such an incredible extent, we can't really say that Osa mitzvah potem in a mitzvah because there are different varying degrees of mitzvah, and the schar is so different that, wait a minute, how could you give up this mitzvah in order to do this other mitzvah? I'm sorry, how could you not give up doing this mitzvah in order to learn? Because learning is so much greater, you would definitely need to and want to, and it's not on the same level. It's a different mitzvah. It's a different.
Martin, that's a lot closer. But we're going to fine tune that question a little bit. Okay, here we go.
Okay. I would think.
No, guys, I apologize. We got to learn something.
But according to what Rebbe said of the fact that you have to give up a fifth of your income for mitzvah, if you make that cheshbon with the Torah, you should have to be willing to live with absolutely nothing in order to learn Torah all day. You earn the smallest amounts of income because you're going to give up your income in order to do mitzvah of Torah.
Okay, we'll deal with that also. It's a good question. We'll deal with it, Bli Neder. And by the way, Rav Moshe Tshuva writes, Chas v'sholom, you're not allowed to go into debt and make your family suffer. We'll get into that. 1 second. Gemara Shabbos Yud Aleph Amud Aleph. The Tanya, Chaverim sheyu oskim b'Torah, a group of Chaverim who are osik with Torah, mafsikin l'kriyishma. They have to stop their learning to say Shema. They mafsikin l'tefillah, but they don't have to stop for davening. That's the Brisa. The Brisa tells us if you're learning Torah, a group learning together, they have to stop to say Shema. They don't have to stop for tefillah. Jumping. Rabbi Yochanan. When do we say you don't have to stop for tefillah? They were talking about people like Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai and his group, his ilk. Shetarasam umnasan, and that's all they did yomam v'layla. Avakugon anu, but people like us, this is Rabbi Yochanan saying this. People like us must seek in the kriyishma tefillah. Since we stopped to earn a living, so obviously, therefore, we have to stop for kriyishma and tefillah as well. All right, interesting. Let's see Rashi. Chaverim oskim b'Torah mafsikim. Chaverim who are oskim b'Torah, they stop for Shema. And they mafsikim Torah. So l'kriyah Shema. There's mana d'oraisa because mana kriyah Shema is d'oraisa. Or b'shoch b'chov kamecha, as we know already from brachas. They mafsikim l'tefillah. However, these people like Rav Shimon bar Yochai and company, and they're not mafsik v'tefillah. Aval anu, but us, says Rabbi Yochanan, whole mafsikim Torah seinu. Since we stopped learning to earn a living, kol shegein shenafsik v'tefillah. Kal v'chomer, we stop for tefillah. All right, so far so good, right? So far no chedushim, just an interesting observation. Oh, good. Let's go on.
There's one interesting chiddush here. There's obviously levels to learning to start on learning also, because when they're going to be saying Kriya Shema, they're going to be doing learning also while they're saying Kriya Shema. So it's not that they're going to get less learning, fewer words of learning. They'll get the same number of words of learning. They'll just be saying Shema. So therefore, it's a chiddush still to say that they have to do that, because if you're in an iyun or there's something which is more of an in-depth or something like that, is the chiddush is they have to stop doing that and do less iyun, which is obviously it's worth less to some extent.
Okay, good observation. Good observation. Okay, good. The Gemara says, wait a minute, I don't know what you're talking about. You just told me that we stopped for Krishma, that Reb Shimon Chai Chaver stopped for Shema, but now for Tefillah. Vatanya, Brisa says, Kishem Shem Mafsikin LeTefillah, just like you don't stop learning for Tefillah, Kachem Mafsikin LeKrishma, so too you don't stop learning for Shema. I mean, you just told me this is steering Brises. This first Brisa tells me that even Reb Shimon Chai Chaverov, they stop for Krishma, right? They don't stop for Tefillah, but they stop for Krishma. We have a Brisa that says the opposite. Because Shem Mafsik Tefillah, if you're learning Torah just like you don't stop for Tefillah, Kachem Mafsik Krishma, you don't stop for Krishma. It's a stira. And the Gemara Kitania he be'iber shana. And when did the Brisa say that you're not Mafsik for Tefillah or for Shema? That's when you're dealing with a mitzvah of iber shana. When the Beis Din sits to say whether the year is, whether the year is the year is a leap year or not. That's when we say you don't, you're not mafsik for tefillah or for krishma. Dam Rav Adabar Ava, because Rav Adabar Ava said, "V'chein tanu sabi the gonya amar lozabar tzadok kshin oskin be iber shana be yavne." We were involved in the issue of the leap year when we were sitting in Yavne. Lo yin mafsikim. We didn't stop lo krishma lo tefillah, not for krishma and not for tefillah. And now, why is it that these people wouldn't stop for Krishma and Tefillah, gentlemen? What is the reason?
The deraisa to do the Ibur Shana.
Right. I have a Krishma as a deraisa also.
It's going to stir their concentration, and they're not going to be able to finish what they need to do.
So what? What's the mechanism? What allows you to say, I'm not going to say Shema? I'm not going to do what? Why?
Well, Martin said.
That what?
Osig mitzvah pater min mitzvah.
Exactly. Thank you. Osig mitzvah pater min mitzvah. They're involved in the mitzvah of Iber Shana, right? Mitzvah of setting the leap year, which a din and Beis Din has the obligation to do it. Osig in that mitzvah, they're pater from any other mitzvah, right? Let's just see Rashi and Iber Shana. Show olim shival aliyah. They bring up 7 aliyah. V'nosim mashana ruya v'tzricha lisaber. They go back and forth. Do the sun, meaning it has to be Chag Asif. It has to be in the spring. It has to be Aviv, the Pesach. So is it off enough? Okay, good. So here is, okay, very good. So we know that the reason is, mitzvah. So gentlemen, I would like to ask question number 1 that Martin sort of asked, but I'm not sure 100%. Okay, here's question number 1. If one is learning Torah, he's obligated to stop for Kriyat and Tefillah, right? I have a very simple question. I osik b'mitzvah pater min mitzvah, and especially because the Mishnah told us Talmud Torah keneged kulam. If I'm learning, I should not stop for anything, not for Shema, not for Tefillah, not for anything. And even if I'm not Torah Somnosa, let's say I learn an hour a day, I'm picking my hour, and it's going to be right in the middle of Shachris. I'm not davening Shachris today. Osik mitzvah pater min mitzvah. You had a kasha? It is a very, very important kasha. Do not make fun of it. It is a very important question. Shlomo Bayer was going to ask it. Right? No, he wasn't going to ask it. Okay,
I heard the question from Rabbi Martin.
Okay. Fine. Okay. Martin really did ask it. He just kind of ducked out of it in the end. But okay, good. All right, so that's question number 1. But let's go on because I have question number 2. Let us study an interesting Rambam. Mishnah Torah Hilchos Ishus Tezvav. Here's the Rambam. Ha'ish mitzvah peri rivya. A man is commanded the mitzvah of peri rivya. Avalo isha, woman is not commanded. Now it's a machlokes we're showing him, but certainly the Rambam passes this way. A man has a mitzvah rivya, woman doesn't. Okay, good. Ve'ema sai ish neschai b'mitzvah. From what age is a man obligated to mitzvah? Mi ben sheva esrei, when he turns 17. Became in shavru esrim shana. Once he passed 20 years, lo nasa isha and marry. He's over Mavatul Mitzvah's essay. He's over Mavatul Mitzvah's essay. You have the obligation to have periv, you have the obligation to have children. And you're 20 and you didn't, you're Mavatul Mitzvah's essay. However, says the Rambam, Vimaya osik b'Torah, but let's say he's learning. V'Torah ba by Mitzrayim Isha Kadei Shel Tzachim Mazonos. Let's say he says I'm learning, and I'm involved in learning, and I'm afraid to marry because if I marry, I'm going to have to earn a living. I'm to support my wife. He's allowed to delay. Why? What does the Rambam say? Why? Sha'osik b'mitzvah pater min mitzvah. V'kol shegem Talmud Torah. Interesting Rambam, isn't it? So here I'm learning. I'm 20 years old. I'm about to say, no. Why? Because I'm Torah and learning. I realize if I get married now, I'm gonna have to earn a living, support my wife, and I'll have to vatal Torah. Since I'm osig in the mitzvah of leaving a Torah, I'm allowed to vatal because osig mitzvah pater mitzvah, right? Now that's a bit curious because didn't we just say didn't the Rambam learn the Gemara? I mean, I don't know what the answer. Why? Meaning here, let me put it this way: man can get married because he's involved in mitzvah limit Torah, right? Even though he's mitzvah period, yeah. Nevertheless, in mitzvah limit Torah, he's allowed to. He's also mitzvah pater mitzvah. This question is: did the Rambam forget the Gemara? Here's question number 2. Didn't the Gemara tell us that you don't say osik mitzvah pater mitzvah and mitzvah limit Torah? I don't know why you don't say it, but from this brisa, I see clearly. Even Rav Shimon Bar Yochai, here, look at this. Even Rav Shimon Bar Yochai v'Chaveirav have to stop the Kriya Shema. So don't tell me osik mitzvah pater mitzvah, Rabbi Rambam. The brisa says clearly, I don't know why, but for some reason by Torah you don't say it. Yet the Rambam says you do say it. How's your Pella?
This is before the Shidduch crisis, Rabbi.
Before the Shidduch crisis. That's right. And they would change the ruling now. The Rambam would say only up until, well, no, you're allowed to, but only if you marry a girl, only if you agree to marry a girl who's older than you, then you can wait. But what do you call it? Do you hear the kashas? Kasha number 1 is, let's look at this brisa itself. It's difficult to understand why we don't say there's a rule. We know a kol Torah kol osik mitzvah pater mitzvah. Why don't you say it by Torah? Talmud Torah keneged kulam. Surely you should say osik b'Torah pater min mitzvah, right? That should be the rule. Osik b'mitzvah pater mitzvah. So question number 1 is, Gigali, why don't we say it by Torah, right? But question number 2 is, the Rambam says mafurish that osik mitzvah pater min mitzvah. Meaning why? A guy he's 20 years old and he's mevatel mitzvah say if he doesn't have children, he doesn't get married, have children. But if he's osik b'Torah, afraid if he has to earn a living, he's going to have to stop learning. He can delay sha'osik b'mitzvah pater min mitzvah. So the Rambam apparently missed the Gemara in Shabbos. Gemara that's brisa.
Clearly, the Rambam is saying a difference between learning in general and learning specific sessions. Because this same Rambam would not say, if I want to learn on myself own and I'm going to skip Shacharis, I'm going to skip Shema, I'm going to skip everything, I'm just going to learn through the whole day, I'm going to skip all the next fields, Rambam would say, no go.
I'm sure what you're saying is, I'm sure that there's an answer to this Rambam, but I don't know what it is.
I'm saying, so there seems to be a chiluk of a global.
Binyan Pesach, I agree with you. There's got to be an answer to this Rambam, because the Rambam did not miss a brisa. The Rambam did not miss the Gemara in Shabbos that he quotes. He didn't miss it. The question is, what is the
difference
answer?
of a global level of his overall learning?
Local. I believe in global warming. You believe in global cooling. If you could tell me a teretz.
Maybe just want to make fun of what I say. Then I have nothing to say.
This is the kasha. I threw down the gauntlet. This is the challenge of the sugi. We got to answer these two kashas. Number 1, why is it that by Torah there is no rule of osik mitzvah pater mitzvah? It sounds strange. Talmud Torah is the biggest mitzvah in the world, right? We just said Talmud Torah shakol keneged kulam. Yet for some reason, I don't know why, for some reason we don't say osik b'mitzvah pater mitzvah Torah. Why? It makes no sense to me. But even let's say you told me you some Binyan Pesach's answer. I have another kasha. And look at the Rambam. The Rambam says that osik mitzvah pater mitzvah is why you're allowed to delay. Again, I'm 20 years old. I can delay. By the way, in the Yeshiva, the rule was 24. You're allowed to, until you're 24, you don't have to go out because osik mitzvah pater mitzvah. The problem is, we don't say that by Talmud Torah. And for some reason, Talmud Torah doesn't have the rule osik mitzvah pater mitzvah, yet the Rambam says it does have a rule.
The Yeshiva was explained to me was that the fact is, I forget which was the Mechaber, comes out, says that you should get married by L'chol Pachas not later than age 25, I think he says. I think it's the Mechaber says, but not later than age 25. Even when you delay, you shouldn't be later than more than 25. And the shtadlus is 1 year. The shtadlus to get married by age 25 is 24. I think that was the explanation.
I don't recall that, but I do remember waiting. I do remember at 24, I said, I'm going to wait 1 more year. And it was the worst year in learning I ever had. I said, all right, I quit. God, I get it. I'm supposed to go out. I guess. So I went out.
Rebbe, in the last sugya we did, Osik mitzvah or mitzvah, I remember I think Binyamin Pesach brought up this idea of mitzvahs tmidios. Why that doesn't, Astam, you should never have to do anything because you have Shav mitzvahs tmidios and you always have to do that. Is this, Osik, is Limud Torah, especially the way the Grudge just set it up, is that considered a mitzvah tmidios that inherently we see that the Shem wants us to stop for other mitzvahs?
Mitzvah tmidius means at any time of the day, night, if I think about it, I'm Mekayim the mitzvah. Amuna, anytime I think about it, I'm Mekayim it. That's what it means, tmidi. Tmidi means, and there's no time limit. At any given moment, if I think about it,
learning also has no time limit, right?
No, but learning is more than that. Meaning, learning, you're obligated to learn all the time. You're not obligated to think all the time. You're obligated to learn all the time.
Fine, no, I don't think it's exactly, but I'm saying it's a similar idea, meaning it's a mitzvah that Hashem gave you no time limit. Therefore, I don't know, meaning until we saw this Mishnah Torah, maybe a little different, but I wouldn't assume this would fall into Osik mitzvah patur min mitzvah because it's inherently a mitzvah that Hashem doesn't give you a time limit for. So we see that Hashem would want you to stop, especially for mitzvahs like Shema, which do have a time limit. Otherwise, what is Hashem doing? Meaning, within the mitzvah's instructions, it is that you inherently need to stop for the right thing.
Okay, Ellington, you're saying something very, very beautiful. Very, very beautiful. And we're going to see that is a very bona fide and correct answer. We're going to have to see. We're going to do mitzvah, we're going to do Rav Elchanan, and it is word for word what Rav Elchanan says. But we're going to have to see it inside because you got to see how he learns it, how, etc. But you hit the nail on the head there. Correct. You get the cigar.
I think Binyamin Pesach said it in the last video. So
Well, no, I mean you can't.
No, not exactly, but it helps.
You can't say that because anything I say automatically gets nullified. So
that's right. Bittel. No, not anything you're saying, Binyamin Pesach. Just no. All right, but whatever the case, these are the two questions that we're going to start the sugi with. Question number one is, why is it if Talmud Torah keneged kulam, surely if I'm osik with Talmud Torah, I should putter from all of the mitzvahs, yet we see it's not. And then how do we answer this Rambam who says that when you're osik with Talmud Torah, you are putter from other mitzvahs? Something's amiss over here. All right, so that's where we're going to start. And we're going to get a nice, good grip on this mitzvah called Limud Torah. What it means, how much it is. But again, generally, if nothing else, just spend some time tonight thinking about how rich you are. I'm wealthy. Count your riches. You don't understand what I got in the world to come waiting for me? If I learn an hour a day, it's 197 million. Anybody an accountant here? Anybody Jewish here? Anybody do math? Put it in a spreadsheet. Look at it. It's incredible. It's good stuff. You got to think about it, dwell on it, so you really appreciate it. But it's great stuff.
An interesting point that I'm saying as far as the fact there's no time bound for Torah. If that's true, how come women have a different mitzvah for Talmud Torah than men do? It's not a time bound mitzvah.
Women do not have it. It's benecha lo benasecha. It's the xeris hakos. The Bible says to your son, but not to your daughter. So there is no mitzvah say for a woman to learn. Now, right, v'shinam levanecha v'lo levanosecha. Gemara makes a diak.
It's a special exclusion of daughters there.
Right. Now again, women make a berachas of Torah because they have halachas that they have to learn, etc. But it's not the mitzvah of limud Torah. They're not obligated in the mitzvah of limud Torah.
So they don't get a mitzvah for learning? They learn?
They do. You can't say it's a mitzvah. It's einu mitzvah oseh. They're not obligated, but they certainly get the mitzvah. Just like if they pick up lulav and esrog. Right? They're not obligated to do it, but if they do it, they get a mitzvah.
It's similar to, even though it's not time bound, it's similar to time bound mitzvah.
Yeah, well, I mean, right. It's not Zman Garma, but women are putter in it for a different reason, right?
So they're only learning for the purpose of understanding what they need to do.
Right, that's what they have to do. But anytime a woman goes to a shiur, she's mekayim a mitzvah for sure. It's a mitzvah also. Again, no different than a woman listening to shofar on Rosh Hashanah. women, right? Shofar is a mitzvah seishes, mangram women a potter. But most women throughout the Doros have been makbid to hear Tkiyah shofar. And why? It's Eina Mitzvah Osa. It's certainly a mitzvah, and it's it's a.
Elnatan, does Sephardim not say? Sephardim women not say Birchas Torah?
No, they don't make the bracha.
That's what I'm saying. Do they not make Birchas Torah? Sephardim women?
Yeah, Elnatan, what do they do?
Do Sephardim women not do Birchas Torah?
I'm not a Sephardi woman, but I can find out.
Because you always talk about how the Sephardim don't do women don't do brachas on mitzvahs.
Right. That we don't do. But.
So that's I'm asking you about Birchas Torah.
By the way, it's a big machlokas, the Gra and the Rambam, exactly why it is a woman makes Birchas Torah. Tosas learns that a woman makes Birchas Torah because Eina Mitzvah, but she could still make a bracha because she's in the klal. But the Rambam says that rule doesn't apply. That's why the Svardim don't make brachas on when they're not mitzvah, because the Rambam says chas v'shalom. If you're not mitzvah, how can you say asher k'nisham b'tzosa vitzivanu? What do you mean vitzivanu? You didn't command us. How can a woman say you command us when you didn't command us? So the Rambam says chas v'shalom. A woman cannot make a bracha on let's say lulav, and that's why the Svardim don't.
Right. So I was asking if the Torah is the same thing.
Right. So no, there's no question on Torah. The Rambam holds even more. It's a derabanan, the mitzvah, the brachas on Torah. So surely. All right, whatever. So
we have a source that we count mitzvahs of learning by words.
What is it? So the Gra makes a diuk. He says, why did the Tana tell us the minimum amount? Why did Tana point out that even one word of limud Torah? The Tana said there's no minimum shiur to Torah. Why did he tell us that? To teach us that even one word of Torah, you yotze the mitzvah limud Torah.
Does he say the word word?
Yeah, teva, word. Yeah, let's go back to the Gra. 1 second. Teva. 1 second. Let me get there. 1 second. All the way back to over here. 1 second. Here's the slide. Okay. Not this slide. 1 second. Here. Right? The whole teva v'teva shalom ba u'mitzvah sevi. Each word and word that he learns is mitzvah, and therefore the Gra now does the math for us. He says, therefore, im ken shalom l'mashal daf echad. If you learn one blot, Mekayim Kama Me'as mitzvah. You film a few hundred mitzvahs. Why? Because each word has a separate mitzvah saying.
I'm curious that, I see you're showing me where it says it, but like, why did they consider the smallest unit of Torah to be a word rather than an idea, a thought, a unit of time, like a second? Like why is it a word?
Because I guess what's the minimum? I mean, the Tana said there is no shiur, there is no minimum. So what is the no minimum? It can't be a letter because letter is not the substantial. You're saying it should be at least halacha, a din, or something. I hear what you're saying. Your thought. I hear what you're saying. I guess the Gra feels. I have to think about it, but I'm guessing that maybe the Gra feels that the minimum content is a word. Vayomer. By the way, can I say the word vayomer in the bathroom? Not Hashem's name. Can I say the word Vayomer for pasuk? Vayomer Hashem Moshe Leib. Can I say? I can't say it in the. It's a word of Torah. If I write that word on a cloth, it has kedusha. It's not the same as a scar. Not the same as Hashem's name. But if I wrote that word on a cloth, it has kedusha. One word of Torah.
What word that's just modern Hebrew that, like, I don't know, some noun or something. It could be in the Torah. It could be just Israeli talking.
By the way, that's why it's very debatable. That's why you probably can't learn Hebrew, even modern Hebrew, in the bathroom. I don't know. Maybe you can. The Mishnah says you can't learn Hebrew in the bathroom because how else are you going to learn Hebrew other than by thinking about the psukim? You got the joke? Meaning when Rashi learned Hebrew, he was learning through all Tanakh, so he can't learn Hebrew in the bathroom because he was thinking about Tanakh. When was the last time you thought, oh, let me think about this word? Is this pasuk in Amos? No, it's in Tehillim. No, like. But whatever case, but that's halacha. We don't learn. I think we try even not to learn modern Hebrew. I think in the bathroom. I mean, I guess it's not 100% true. You can read an Israeli paper in the bathroom. I assume there's no Torah in it. But I think we try not to even learn Hebrew. Just like
your Vayomer adds kedusha, the newspaper takes out the kedusha.
Right, maybe something like that. I don't know. It bothered me for years. I wish I could learn in the bathroom. I wish I could study Hebrew, but I was frustrated. So, these books, 500 Hebrew nouns, they're very good. But anyway, I don't know. Maybe you could, maybe you have to ask Posky. Maybe you could learn modern Hebrew bathroom. I'm not sure.
Joshua, Rabbi, it has to be a Joshua. Because Joshua anyway was just...
Right. Right. All right. We got this, gentleman? All right. Please daven for the Klal Yisrael, daven for the Matzah and Eretz Yisrael, and let's prepare. I'll send out more comments. Hopefully tomorrow morning we'll get moving on this. All right? Okay, gentlemen. Shkaya, we'll see you at Mitzvah Shem Thursday night.
Thanks for joining us for today's podcast. We'll be posting more here, so be sure to come back for new content. For daily inspiration, join our WhatsApp group by messaging +19 1489 36848 or visit theshmuz.com for more resources. If you have any questions, feel free to email us at info@theshmuz.com. Looking forward to having you with us again soon.